Hello there, my friends. Welcome to the Star Wars Vault. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe for new Star Wars content every week. Well, here we are at last, my friends. The 8th and final episode of The Acolyte dropped Tuesday night. Now everyone can cool down from this unsuccessful series. However, the Star Wars fans I doubt will halt their criticisms of this show, and of course, they should not do that. Personally, I don't know when I will cover this show again with a full review after this video. It could be a month, 2 months maybe, I'm not sure. All I know is I'm exhausted from watching this awful project. Now, just because I don't like it doesn't mean I'm not going to talk about it in the future, and when I do talk about it, I'm going to be critical. The fans will continue to make Disney aware of the resounding disappointment in their product. Plainly speaking, The Acolyte sucks. I'm sorry if any of you watching think The Acolyte is amazing. Go ahead and enjoy it all you want. That's not going to stop me from tearing apart this show. So when I think about episode 8, I really do ask myself over and over, is this the worst episode? I mean, I thought episodes 3 and 7 were as bad as it could possibly get, but episode 8, I believe, is really trying its best to be the worst thing you've ever seen. I guess I shouldn't have been surprised given the tone set from the beginning of the series. The fact that there was no story, not a cohesive one at least, no characters ever do anything that makes sense strategically or emotionally, with nothing truly established through the first 7 episodes, why wouldn't I think the 8th episode would be the worst? When I come to think of it, this is a similar line of thought with how the sequel trilogy went. If you look back at the lead up to Rise of Skywalker, everything as far as the story was already doomed. Force Awakens and Last Jedi do not go well together whether you like the films or not. I'll even admit right now that my favorite sequel film is Episode 9 because The Rise of Skywalker essentially reverted to a sequel of Force Awakens. It basically disregarded The Last Jedi, which was my least favorite film. And for whatever reason, I really enjoyed watching Episode 9 in theaters at the time compared to when I was shockingly depressed after seeing The Last Jedi on the big screen. With all of that said, I think The Rise of Skywalker is the absolute worst movie out of the 3. The Last Jedi objectively is a better film, but I don't know, I guess I just enjoyed the cleanup effort in Episode 9. Because at the end of the day, I don't really take the sequels that seriously like I once did. Focusing back on The Acolyte with Episode 8, we get a culmination of a bad story with bad characters, cheap imitations, lore breaking, and ultimately the wrong message being echoed for Star Wars. Episode 8 made me so frustrated, so angry. I haven't channeled the dark side this much in recent time. As you can imagine, I'm not doing this video in my typical breakdown format. Some of the Acolyte episodes I just felt bored or confused at the end. This time I was straight up unhappy. They did such a good job of this within the first 10 or so minutes by showing a creepy Darth Plagueis watching and lurking Smilow Ren and Osha. There's only one thing from episode 8 that rivals this scene for worst moment in the show. I'll just skip to the end where that happened, which of course was Master Vernestra going to see Master Yoda. The reason these two scenes bother me more than anything else is that two insanely impactful characters in the Star Wars saga are technically attached to this dumpster fire of a show. Ki-Adi-Mundi being inserted into this wasn't enough. We get Plagueis and Yoda. Really? And here's the worst part of it. There's no lead up to either character. This show is not about them. If someone asks me, well, you're so fascinated with Yoda and Plagueis as characters, wouldn't you be happy to see them? I can understand that inquiry. My answer would be, I don't want to see characters that I love have their story tarnished so that Disney can make a cheap buck. That's why I was disappointed with The Last Jedi, because in my opinion, Luke Skywalker's character was mostly destroyed. You can disagree on that if you like. I truly believe they made bad creative decisions for Luke. With The Acolyte, all I wanted was it to be a show about Darth Plagueis. I've been campaigning this for years since the announcement in late 2020. But as each episode came out more and more, I didn't want to see Yoda or Plagueis. Don't get me wrong, I fall for the nostalgia too all the time. Guilty as charged. This time, however, I cannot support it. The next biggest thing this finale did so wrong was Soul. Yeah, Master Soul, that was my guy. His character is completely obliterated in episode 8. Somehow he lets May continuously get away even though he's a Jedi Master, but then he has a really good lightsaber fight with Kamir, aka Smilow Ren, where he looks very strong. His character is so inconsistent for looking incompetent to a guy who can go toe-to-toe with the Sith who killed like 8 Jedi. Eventually May shames Soul over and over and makes him admit he killed their mother in front of Osha. Ladies and gentlemen, what occurs next is straight up laughable, poorly done fan fiction. Osha begins to force choke Soul while grabbing his lightsaber and literally bleeding the kyber crystal on the spot, turning the sword color red. And by the way, when someone is taken over by the dark side, you think they'd show some tense emotion? God, I don't know what it is, but the way the actress plays these two characters is extremely painful to watch. Now, I know the characters are horribly written, so that's not her fault. I'm not even trying to say she's a bad actress, but whatever it is, the way she's directed, I don't know. It just comes off super stale and lame. At least Soul and Kamir sound like they believe in what they're saying in the way they express themselves, even though their character arcs suck just as bad. So anyway, Osha kills Soul with a force choke in a very cringy scene. Jedi Master Vernestra with the team of Jedi fly and land by their location. Kamir decides to wipe May's mind with the force and takes off with Osha after the two had a teary hug and goodbye. You know, I wish I could care for that moment, even a smidge, but this twin sister virgin story was a mess, to say the least. Vernestra finds Soul dead and then captures a confused May. Master Vernestra was pressed by politicians and senators earlier in the episode about the recent attacks on Jedi. So in a ridiculous turn to end Season 1 of The Acolyte, Vernestra coordinates a big cover-up by blaming Master Soul for the killings of Jedi and himself. That this whole situation was because of one flawed man. And of course, as I mentioned a minute ago, she walks in to tell Yoda about what supposedly happened. Episode 8 concludes, "There, have mercy on us." I speak for myself and many fans when I say Disney and Lucasfilm, please do not make a Season 2. I know you have it in the works, but I beg you not to continue. No offense to Leslie Headland, but she did not make a good show and shouldn't be rewarded with more projects. The people have spoken. The ratings have shown that most people don't want to watch this. I really wish I could be more excited for the first live appearance of Darth Plagueis, but it just doesn't feel right. I want them to tell a whole different story and do more justice for his character. I don't want him connected to this story at all. Moments like the blue lightsaber turning to red instantly gives the impression Leslie knows nothing about Star Wars. I don't see the point in thinking anything you see in Star Wars is cool. There's a lot of cool things in Star Wars, but if you think you can cover up a trash story with flashy lightsaber stuff and expect us to eat it up and love it, think again. That's not how bleeding your kyber crystal works. It takes a lot of time and focus, as we know when Vader bled his in the lore via comics. So I conclude Season 1 of The Acolyte as a terrible show, the only positive being decent lightsaber choreography. Episode 8 I rate a 2 out of 10. That puts my average for the show around like a 3 out of 10 total. Obviously a disappointing series, but I still yearn for good Star Wars in the future. As for now, expect 1 to 2 new fan fictions every week from my channel. We're going to have a lot of fun with some new stories and what ifs. But I want you all to let me know what you thought of the Acolyte finale. Did you like seeing Darth Plagueis or Yoda? What is your rating out of 10 for the show? Whatever your thoughts are, make sure to comment below. Also, don't forget to force push that like button if you enjoyed the video. Social media is linked in the description, and I'll see you all for my new fanfiction soon. So until then, may the Force be with you.